Attendance this morning. Grace, we'll call on you if you could open this morning with karakia, please.
Inui tātou, I te atu e noi ana mātou ki a koe, e arahina mātou e āwhinatia mātou i ngā wā katoa. Ko koe hoki e orone e manane aene ākene, āmane. Dear Lord, we thank you for the day. We thank you for those that have gathered and give our aroha for those that are sick and heavy burden at this time. With special note to Auntie Claire Hollenberg and a few others around the district. We ask that you guide their family in love and give them protection in your name. Amen.
Amen. Grace. We have no apologies. Everybody's present this morning, which is wonderful. Thank you. I'd like to move that we confirm this morning's agenda. There's a second for that motion, please.
I second.
Grace, in favour? Aye. Aye. Against? So I'd like to remind members to clear any potential or perceived conflicts of interest in items in today's agenda. I will declare, as per the last meeting, my conflict of interest. I'm currently employed by Cockburn District Council in a short fixed term role. Any views expressed by me during this meeting are my personal views only and are expressed in my capacity as chair of the Raupo Drainage Committee and as a representative of the Raupo Drainage District Targeted Ratepayers. The opinions and views expressed are not in my capacity as an employee of Cockburn District Council and are not necessarily the opinions of my employer or the elected members of this council. Is there any other?
Clear, not as wordy as his, but I am a kaimahi for Environs Holdings Limited, Te Reo Hau, and also a hearing commissioner, brand new.
Conflicts to declare. We'll move to item 2.1, confirmation of previous minutes. Now we need to reaffirm the minutes of the 20th of July meeting. So I would like to move that we confirm the minutes of that meeting. Have a second, please.
Sorry, also confirming the minutes of the.
Are we doing them both at the same time? Thank you. Well, I'd like to, I'll move that we could approve the minutes of both those meetings, the 20th of July and 16th of November. Move myself. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Carried. Item 3. Upper drainage operations report. I'd ask Wayne to present to that report. You got a copy in front of you, Wayne?
So you all got a copy of the activities of the last quarter?
Yes.
Any questions on that?
Got one, the risk, I presume it's a risk register or out of a risk register. We tabled something 4 meetings ago, committee, around, we saw the risks were. I understand it's council's right to reject that totally, but I think it's only good manners to formally do that. It was tabled here, or else amend the risk register after the committee's input. Neither's occurred.
Through you, Chair, will take that action away and bring it back. I don't have an issue with it coming to the remaining
as an item on Wayne's report.
And the second one, compliance and safety issues, all the work we've got going on, I'd be absolutely shocked with a nil report. Near misses, there's all sorts of things statutory are meant to be required.
Regards.
Nothing's occurred over that period. I would find that stunning
What page are you on?
on the opening page.
In regards to site
Life
specific
safety
stuff
affairs.
in general.
Well, particularly with the bow gate.
Yep.
I mean,
Through you, Chair Wayne, do you have any information on it? Have there been any incidents or issues
In regards to health and safety.
and compliance?
I've had nothing reported.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any, but there will be a full report on that through the project manager at some stage, back to committee.
Yeah, so we're doing two things. We'll do a closure report. So that'll come through to the committee once the project is completed. And sometime later on this month or early next month, we want to do a post-implementation review stage one. We understand that the project may go into hibernation over winter and then restart, but I don't want to lose the lessons learned over that period. So we'll do an interim post-implementation review as well.
In regards to the activities last quarter, there's no other fish hooks in there that I've seen. We've got some challenges coming for the activities for the coming quarter with just primarily through contractor capabilities. Wayne's been juggling the operational list around sort of deferring what we can do in the wetter months. Wayne, is there anything else in operations you wish to bring up?
No, nothing else. But I've got the report, just a lack of contractors. Flood pumps commissioned. Ram 2 spraying's underway. And the floodgates we've completed the works that we were going to do on the capital works were completed.
I'd just like to make note that there are some items in the weather events impact update, the works program there in relation to the LTP that could possibly be reviewed and revised prior to, and for presentation at the next meeting. There's probably a couple of items in there that need updating. So with that in mind, someone like to move that we.
Could I just ask a question of clarification, please? Just in regard to the power takeoff system for the pump, does the Drainage District have its own tractor that would be capable of operating that, or would it be just a matter of getting one from local farm?
We'd hire a tractor at the time.
Yeah, as a footnote to that system is up and running, fully commissioned, working well. It's good to go. And as of last week, the electric motor was reinstalled to the flood pump, so it's back in normal operation. But the PTO drive system is fully functional to be utilised if required. So the impacts of what we saw during Gabrielle should be able to be quite satisfactorily mitigated within a couple of hours.
What sort of tractor would be needed?
It's been tested on a 100 horse, just a standard 100 horse tractor, which it runs quite comfortably.
A few of those around here, eh?
A dime a dozen.
Yeah.
Dime a dozen. There's contractor availability if need be.
Okay, thank you. Just
Yep.
interested to know.
Right. Someone like to move we accept the operations report for meeting? Brian Metzen, seconded. Mark Vincent, in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you, Wayne. Item 4, Raupo Drainage Financial Report. Scandra, if you could come forward.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Good morning, members. I'll take the report as read. However, I will help with points. Financial report obviously represents the state of play at the end of February. So it's the report that was originally to be tabled at our March meeting, which got deferred. In terms of the detail of the report, the main, obviously, the main factor is our growing surplus, or also known as funds passing to future periods. So that now sits at just a touch over $1 million. Other than that, I'm happy to field any questions or comments or queries. Thanks.
Okay, Darren. Greg, have you got anything on the financials?
We don't get any interest on that capital that goes in consolidated accounts. There's no recognition back to us. It'd be quite a sum, that's all.
Yeah, at this stage, no, there isn't. We can discuss further if required, but at this point, the policy is that it's just a standard of principle. Stayed there, yes.
That applies to all committees across council, same way.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
It was the same question I was going to ask. Just
Anyone else have any further comment on that financial report? I've got one point to make. The funding for Bowergate. It was the assumption of myself and the committee that the targeted rate funding portion of Bowergate was going to be tied to the 2018 funding resolution made by council. A lot of time has passed since that resolution was made, and the project has morphed, shall we say, into what it is. Are we able to get some clear guidance back to the committee as to what the targeted rate impact is likely to be? For our district ratepayers, bearing in mind that we do have some externally funded capital available for the project. I understand where we're monitoring the costs, but I'm just from an official perspective, is we can have some indication of where the full liability would sit with the ratepayer, bearing in mind it's going to put a fair dent in that surplus funds just previously discussed.
Yeah, I can come back to you on that one and look into that.
Yep, thanks, Henry. Mark.
Yeah, I guess I'm interested in the rates payments. Is that in respect of properties such as being Wharf Road, but other properties as well? See, there's a credit as well to a certain extent.
Yeah, I was raise that too. Thank you. This is my understanding is the rates are applied to both 16 Wharf Road and the Drainage Board depot, or the former Drainage Board depot on Jellicoe Street. I am not, Andrew, I'm not sure if you can enlighten us on how the rates from emission is calculated.
Yeah, certainly. So through the chair, yes, there are, I believe, 2 properties currently with the rates payments there. That's the Jellicoe and the Wharf Road property. The rates for emission, without getting into the technical details, which I don't have in front of me, that reflects the portion of rates for emissions that have been provided. So that's a relief on rates provided to ratepayers, and that's the portion of this, the targeted rate that goes to this.
So they're not actually
for wastewater, for example, that would go back to the wastewater service. If there's a remission for any other targeted rate, that would go back there. The same goes for this particular area as well.
So that's a general rates for emission district-wide is applied to the district, as opposed to a rates for emission applied to the 2 properties.
It should be the Raupo targeted rate portion of any rates for emission granted to ratepayers throughout the year.
Okay.
That particular figure will represent that.
To clarify that.
Quite interesting. I'm not sure what sort of a precedent that might be establishing.
Yes.
But, and I'm interested, given the discussions relating to the next item that were held around the council table. Just one more aspect of the actual costs that have been held, covered by the drainage district rather than the general rate part.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
I'd like to move, if there's no further questions on the financials. I'd like to move that the financial report be accepted. Second of it.
Go.
Grace, all those in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Item 5, you going to present this one?
Yeah, this is just a information report for noting the council's decision on the house sale of 16 Ruawai Wharf Road, and within the report you'll see the minute of decision from the first meeting on the 13th of December, and then the subsequent meeting, which was on the 3rd of April. There's really not much more I can share about this. It's just for noting.
I do note the report. I trust everybody's had the opportunity to read it. I am, however, going to offer the opportunity for committee to comment on item 5. Bearing in mind this is a publicly recorded meeting, so
what? They swear.
something along those lines, Grace. Yes, thank you. So, yes, if anyone wishes to make their views known on it in this forum, they are most welcome.
I'm quite prepared to. I am.
Vincent.
Okay. Firstly, I need to confirm that the decision as it was made was legal. It was in compliance with standing orders, take the approach that was taken. However, I and 2 others of the council voted against it, but it's still a legal decision of the council. Subsequent to the meeting, I challenged my colleagues to justify their statement made at the meeting that they were concerned about the precedent implications of this decision. None has responded in the last month. I'm still clearly of the view that it would not be establishing, like the decision is made in December, did not establish a precedent that could be followed in any circumstances that I could imagine coming before the council in the future. And I still think it was the right decision. I also advised my colleagues that in accordance with standing orders, if I could get one more person to agree with me, I had the possibility of bringing the matter before council again by way of notice of motion. But at present, I don't have the numbers. That's where it sits.
Thank you, Mark. Does anyone else have any comments on they wish to make in regards to council's rescindment of their December decision?
No, I think the views have probably been well hammered out.
Yeah.
Not happy about it, but there's very little we can do.
It doesn't give much mana to the council in terms of their word. When they made a decision, that first decision that was made by the council allocations of proceeds to go back to the drainage scheme projects does not give mana to those councilmen that objected in the next meeting. So a man is only as big as its word, and it's no different with council or any government department. So we as ratepayers object to the decision that was made to rescind whatever it is, that motion that was prior. So, and there was a petition that went around. I don't know how far, I haven't caught up with the lady that did it. But there was a petition that went around and they talked about the word of the council and their obligation in the best interest of its people, and I mean the ratepayers. So I just want that recorded. Yeah, and I don't think whether it's Māori, Chinese, Indian, or any other ethnic group, a council or a man is only as big as its word. And he retracted, or well, the council retracted from that. I won't put it on one person because it was a decision made by councillors. And we don't want to get into a position, and I'm talking about the Raupo Drainage Board down the track, when we have not overspent in some sections, and then we have to reapply for funding. It also gets swallowed up by the Kaipara District Council. So, yeah, so that's just my broad thought on it. Ian?
Thank you, Grace.
Chairman, as far as the LTP goes, this is over half our targeted rates at a conservative sale price. Where is that allowed for? Is it not? Is it material enough that formally targeted ratepayers should be made aware of it? 'Cause I'm not thinking.
Yeah.
How does that all play out? Because it's a material sum when you look at what we've got ahead of us. Material sum foregone, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah, no, so, I mean, I have made my views clear to the elected members on where the committee has stood on this issue from day dot. I reiterated that claim at the preceding council meeting where they rescinded the decision. I also presented in writing to the December meeting. So I am not convinced that this is yet over. There are avenues I wish to explore, and I'll do that on my own if I have to. I'm not going to go into too much detail at the moment, but as far as I am concerned, it was an abhorrent decision that punished a small group of ratepayers for very little benefit to the wider ratepayer group. I have made these views known in the wider press, so these views are not secret by any means. I'm still contemplating what further action is available to us as a committee or as a group of individuals or as the group of ratepayers or as the representative of ratepayers. I am unsure as to what form any further action may take or the guidance of it, but from a personal level, I am in discussions as to what is available to us. I don't believe the elected members have considered all of the ramifications of this decision, and that was highlighted by some of the questioning and the closing statements in the meeting where that decision was rescinded. And I applaud the depth of thought from the councillors, some of the councillors in their closing statements in opposition to that motion. There was very little clarity in the closing statements of those in support of the motion, other than some rather scripted statements on policy.
So just back to the question. So does the LTP take account of these funds or not? And does it take into account fully the work? I've had no...
refer that question.
It's quite a material sum.
So through you, Chair, my understanding is that council made a decision and there's nothing to consult on because council has made a decision to sell the house and retain the funds.
So I'll go another step. So we run a high risk as a committee of operating as a secret society. And I say that with a lot of meaning. The chair and I have had a go at a newsletter that's gone through to council and never gone anywhere. I get a lot of questions, what's happening on that land? It confuses people massively because it's Bowergate and people think we own it, which we happen to. You try and explain what's happening. That is a material sum of their money getting spent.
Yeah.
We're just about to start spending again. And we can't get anything out to our members to advise them. And likewise with the house, that's going to be a material impact on targeted rates. We cannot avoid that, and the time period that we can spread it over, I suspect, is shorter rather than longer, because we've got quite a capital works program ahead of us if you believe in climate change. So we just operate in a massive vacuum, and we have this blank with council around trying to actually communicate that out to the community that ultimately we're all of us in this room are accountable to. So I'd just like a response on that, please.
Yeah, so just through your chair, what can you just clarify on the communication part?
I've sent two, Ian's approved them twice they're meant to have gone to you, around a simple newsletter that went out to members, to targeted ratepayers, explaining what we're doing, what's ahead. What we learned out of Gabriel is that it was actually, the timing's gone, but it was a perfect time to do it. Because Gabriel had just happened, I think people generally thought things went well for Raupo versus the rest of New Zealand, or the rest of the affected areas, and it just never went anywhere.
Okay, well, I don't recall that through your chair. So if the committee wish to do a newsletter, I don't have any issues with the committee.
I think I can find the email if I give me a
Is there the opportunity through KDC's communications team to actually put something out, to either work with directly with the committee or through operational staff to update? You know, we get the Kaipara corridor comes out weekly or monthly. Is there the opportunity to get some Raupo drainage specific information into that forum?
Yeah, there is, Chair. So if the committee wish to give us some, you know, what items they'd like to cover, when they'd like to be covered, and a story around that, I can work with our comms team to make sure that, you know, if there isn't an opportunity to put that into the local media, we'll do so. And Bowergate would be a good one because it is a substantive project and it is one of our greatest risks on council's risk register. So it's an ideal one to communicate.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, I totally agree with the korero, KDC korero newsletter, but I really think that something needs to be mailed out to the Raupo drainage, or to our ratepayers. Because not everyone, I know not everyone goes on that website. So if you want to get information out to the people that pay the rates, I think that a mail out should be also considered. Whether it's with the rate demand or whether it's with, I think the rate demand's already out, but.
On out, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a newsletter comes out from council then.
So to that end, I'm not really sure whether this needs to be addressed to the chief executive. Could he assign some staff time for the appropriate staff to work directly with the committee to drum out some sort of communique document? Is that an option that's available to us?
Look, I don't, through your chair, I don't believe we need to escalate it up to the chief executive. I think if the committee feel that there's specific communications that they'd like to do, then I'm happy to take that away and talk to our communications team.
Okay.
And look at what are the channels that are available to us to get that message out.
Yeah.
And the comms team can communicate directly with the committee to establish what we need to get out there?
Yeah, would prefer just to work through maybe yourself and another member. Keeping in mind that, you know, there's a lot of comms that do go out. So we just want to be quite targeted in our communications with respect to Raupo, because we've got projects all over the district as well. But I think some of the key projects like the Bowergate, Canal G, those are sort of some good opportunities to showcase, the work that is taking place in the district.
Yeah, I would agree with Greg about people, especially in the township and in the surrounding districts of Ruawai, asking what's going on. Stopping on the side of the road, looking down there, and they come back to the members. And we're bound by confidentiality ourselves, so I think to be open and transparent to our ratepayers, that they need to know what's happening within Ruawai.
Yeah,
Drainage.
through you, Chair. I mean, whatever's tabled in Wayne's operations report is public. In public. There's no confidentiality about that.
Okay, right.
I mean, there's obviously financials and contractual matters that are confidential, but whatever's in the report is in the public domain.
Okay, so to that end, on that little sub conversation, is the committee happy for me to deal directly or be guided as to who I need to deal with directly with Kaipara District Council Communications?
Yes.
Staff and Greg, if you and I can work together on that, and we'll.
Again,
And I the emails do exist. We can.
yeah, we can't find out these certain exits.
Check out all the existing material we've got and perhaps try and get something out.
Sounds to me entirely in the job description of the comms team to be facilitating that information to be put out. Might you indulge me, Mr. Chairman, to respond to Lisa's comment earlier regarding the decision on the sale of 16 Wolf Road about its impact on the council's mana. I tore up at the meeting, my proudly Kaipara t-shirt and presented it to the mayor and resolved to get a Mickey Mouse t-shirt to replace it. I actually got two, and they've had 2 outings so far, and I'll continue with that till the end of the year anyway. And I want you to know that I would not be disrespectful to the members of this committee by wearing my Mickey Mouse t-shirt to this meeting, but I'm happy to be disrespectful to my colleagues until they front up and justify their decision, just so you know.
Kia ora, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. I mean, I was aware of your protest actions, and from a personal level, I did applaud them. I have gone on record publicly stating my views on that decision, and I think they are somewhat aligned. But the risk of this delving further, I would just like to move that we note the item 5, noting the decision, council's rescindment of the original decision regarding the sale of the house. I'd like to move we note that report. And seconder, please. Dave Hart. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Carried. With there being no further business on the agenda, Grace, could I call upon you to close the meeting with a karakia, please?
Kia tau, kia tātou katoa, te ata whae o tātou ariki ihu karaiti. Me te aroha o te atua, me te whiwhinai taitanga ki te wairua tapu, ake ake, āmeni.
Amen. Kia ora, Grace. Yeah, thank you all for your attendance and participation this morning, folks. Are we still recording?
Meeting officially closed.
Meeting is closed.